All right, let's get started. Welcome to those online and joining us today. This is a work session, January 27th. It's 1 p.m. Commissioner Gage, I'll be conducting the work session meeting this morning. With me is Commissioner Jim Harvey. First item on the agenda is we'll look for approval of the minutes for the session held on January 13th.
Christie's done a wonderful job. I'll move that we approve those minutes as printed.
Okay, and I'll second that. I'll place a motion in favor. Say yes.
Yes.
Motion's carried. All right, let's go to our next agenda item, which is a closed session to discuss the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property. Mr. Sean Wilkinson, Bill Ross, Gary Myers, Cortland Erickson, and we have with us Scott Mendoza also in the room. So
Motion to go into closed session to discuss real estate matters.
second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried for now in closed session. So I'm gonna cut that off.
Video and the Yeah, let's get.
This is not a closed
Mr.
session.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion that we come out of closed session and come back to our work meeting.
You'd like to, or you do?
I am.
Okay, good. You're committed. All right, thank you. We have a motion to come out of closed session. Please say yeah if you're in favor. Oh, I'll second.
Thank you. That would be important. Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, got it. All right, we're now at our 1:15 discussion regarding Blackpine infrastructure development bonds. With Stephanie Russell, Ashland Tuckett, and we have with us Lauren from our legal staff. Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
this is just an update. So, we were approached by Blackpine, about a month ago. They are not able, and we met with, Randy Larson from Gilmore Bell. Who is their bond counsel, and he's also bond counsel for us and also for the Inland Port. So we met with him, we met with everybody. They're not able to go to the bond market right now because the Inland Port has a statewide lawsuit. And so we've been trying to kind of do some creative thinking on how to get them to the bond market. They've got to go to the bond market to start their infrastructure projects for a couple reasons. One is we're doing a joint project with them through the county and the Little Mountain Service Area. So that needs to all happen because it's got some ARPA funding that's attached to it that has to be completely signed, sealed, and delivered by June of next year. So that's one imperative piece why they need to go to the bond market as soon as possible. The second one is there's a couple development projects that are looking to go into that area, which are really significant projects. There's two separate ones. And they need to have reassurances that all of the items in the PID and the development agreement have a funding mechanism so that when they sign and seal their contracts, they know they'll have the infrastructure there. So we had entertained the idea, they'd asked us possibly to reopen the CRA that we started last year.
We never completed that
We
CRA.
never
did we?
completed it. And so Lauren and I did some due diligence to see where we were at.
Yeah.
Lauren can weigh in on that in just a second
Sure.
on how legal feels about that. And then I spoke with Ben Hart personally this past week. Just to say, listen, and Lauren, go ahead and weigh in really quick on this CRA so that commission's aware of where we're at with that.
Yes, so we did write the interlocals, but none of them were executed, so we'd have to redo all the interlocals. My bigger concern is actually about the legality of building or creating a CRA when we already have the inland port there.
Yeah.
I have not found a way that I feel comfortable actually making that happen yet. So, and I talked to Chris about it a little bit too, and so we're still looking into it, but as of right now, I don't have a legal way to create that CRA over the.
Because
inland
it's
port.
within the inland port.
Exactly.
And that's a
Exactly.
state statute
And
governed,
the inland port
Yeah.
can't do it because they're being sued.
correct,
Yes, and they have, like, I think the inland port gets 80%, is that right?
75.
75.
So maybe there's a 25% increment that's left that you could have a CRA work on just that 25%, but even that, I'm not even sure if that's how that would work.
Yeah.
So it's a little complicated.
So I took that back to Ben Hart last week, and Ben Hart said, and I met with the governing political team for Inland Port last week as well, and here's where they are at. They are working on opening a bill file this week that will address the entire state as it relates to the concerns about the project areas that this lawsuit is addressing. The bill, if it's passed, they're hoping to get it passed either next week or the week after, will ratify all of the existing contracts between counties, cities in the state with the inland port. That means once they're ratified, bond council feels comfortable going to the bond
Oh.
market.
So is that state or is that
It would
inland
be-
port action?
It would be an inland port action and it directly affect their statute gauge. So that's something we can talk about when we're down there this week. But we feel really comfortable, and Ben Hart and I feel really confident that this is the best way to go and that they're gonna have success with it. So,
So the bond council will approve it once that happens.
absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They'll support all the inland ports actions to go to the bond market.
So then
Okay.
no CRA needed.
No CRA needed,
Okay,
PID, everything moves forward. So
Okay.
just that's what this one was. It was just an update for everybody
Mhm.
of where that's been panning out, because we had a little bit of a hiccup. But it looks like there's a pretty good solution to it,
good,
but everything's pending legislative action.
good.
Mhm.
All right,
Right.
and just so you know, this morning we had, at Weaver Basin, we had an update
Oh, yeah.
on our West Weaver project. So the 30% design will be done by next month.
That's awesome.
60% design will be done by, what do you say, probably September, October. They plan on starting construction basically a year from now.
That's exciting.
$400 million project.
Love it.
So,
That's great.
so that'll take care. They've already talking about using multiple retailers, but 10 million gallons a day
Wow.
is what they're
That's
what
exciting.
they're estimating they can produce.
That's
Treated water,
exciting. That is so exciting.
treated water. Yeah,
Well, I mean, while we're kind of having our little discussion, we were, LMSA's meeting, and they're gonna be voting in February to take on, tonight, we'll be at Central Weaver tonight.
Yeah.
I'll be presenting at Central Weaver. LMSA's taking on, the lines. They're gonna vote on that in the next meeting in February. Once that's done, then we'll go into an interlocal agreement with, Central Weaver Sewer, so that we have a conveyance and we'll pay out of district fees for conveyance. And then we're also looking at getting the lift station and the Blackpine line from Central Weaver. Instead of the PID giving that to Central Weaver, the PID would give it to LMSA.
good.
So we'll be the owner and operator of all the lines moving forward, west of the river, plus that little chunk that runs to connect. And then we'll go into an MOU, we'll look to come into an MOU with the commission, just to say we are now this person, you don't have to do it anymore. And then at some point, if you guys want to start transitioning, once we get established, start transitioning the lines in the unincorporated over, that's an opportunity we can work on in the next couple of years.
Good.
So that's all moving forward, and that way we still have just small district, I mean, those districts are growing, but it's not 20 or 30 districts, it's 1, 2 districts out there doing water, doing sewer.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea, is to keep it as minimal as possible with the districts.
Well, all I'm saying, in 2 years, there's gonna be plenty of water out there.
Yeah, and there'll be plenty of sewer too.
Then- So now you just have to get the sewer taken care of.
Yep. Yep, and the electricity,
Yeah,
and we're
that's-
working on that too.
And the electricity.
And we're
Both
working
things
on
called-
that, so we'll know more about that as we go.
Yeah, good,
So-
okay,
Yep,
that
all right,
it?
that's it.
all right, thank
That's
you.
great.
Any
good
questions?
report. Thank you. I've
Thanks.
got no questions.
All right, let's go to our 1:30. Discussion regarding the Ogden Airport Community Reinvestment Area, commonly called the CRA. Stephanie, you're back on.
Yep, and we've got Ashton's gonna put the presentation up, we've got Sarah and,
Great.
Jared here. from
Sarah
Ogden.
Meese,
Yeah, Sarah Meese and Jared, I don't know who else is here.
I think it's just those.
Just those two.
Jared
There's a-
from somewhere.
That's for
It's from Ogden.
Commissioner Hartley.
Whoa.
Hi there. Hi there.
Will you move the mouse off of the?
Sarah, how are you?
I will.
It's good to see you.
Yeah.
You got a presentation here?
Yeah, there we go.
What's up? Welcome.
How are you?
How are you guys today?
Very well. How are you?
Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, we're here to discuss the Ogden Airport CRA. Stephanie, you want to take the lead or turn it over?
I'm actually gonna just turn it right over to Sarah and we're gonna go through their
Okay,
presentation. I
go
will
ahead.
say this, we have been meeting on this for quite a while. We feel really confident and our Economic Development Finance Committee feels very comfortable and confident. Same with our legal team with the interlocal that's gonna be presented today. Hopefully, that will be something that ends up on the agenda tomorrow.
Is this
It's ready to be on the agenda tomorrow pending today's meeting.
too late to get on for tomorrow if it's not on already?
We put it on.
Okay,
In the event that you guys said yes, if no, we would have pulled it off.
Yeah.
all right, let's hear it. So
Hold on before
is,
you even
what,
start.
what changes since last time we've talked about this? I just want to know what the changes are.
Yeah, we can go straight to that. Commissioner Harvey, did you have a question on that first one?
We'd absolutely love to include it. We would.
So I spoke with Barton recently and we had a really great conversation. My understanding is you've reached out to the property owner to have some discussion for annexation or that he was wanted to do that. We had some conversation about
So
that.
we met last week, and we're going to be reaching out. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that we have yet, but we
Okay.
are going to. We're going to talk to them, to see what their feelings are. And based on the responses that we get from them, our plan is to initiate a city initiated annexation of that property.
Okay,
You know what, so we would just amend
Correct.
It would have to.
tomorrow? Cause
Yeah,
that's a
amend
big
it.
deal. It's a big deal for you guys.
So, the process to go back and change the boundary is pretty lengthy and a bit more involved than just revising the interlocal agreements. And because we have, a time-sensitive project with Williams and their proposed expansion, we would present this, with the amended interlocal agreements today. And then pending the outcome of that annexation discussion, we would love to get those into this boundary as well. It just
Well,
would
that's
take a
just,
little
I
bit
see
more
that
time.
as important. It's
Mhm.
important for you guys, and we've done quite a bit of legwork on our side because it's, it's important. So just know that I've been thinking, I'm sorry to interrupt your presentation
No,
right out of
not
the
at-
chute.
not at-
Yeah, we
That's a
have
great
had those
question.
initial discussions and Sarah and I had spoken about, timeliness, and this is timely. We do have the opportunity, once they make an agreement with hopefully with the property owner, we'd be able to support the annexation boundary change.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'd be very interested in that.
well, it's interesting because that property we're talking about actually was discussed this morning at Weber Basin. They made you may know this, they made application to Weber Basin for the D.R. Horton for their townhome project.
Mm.
So, anyway. Whatever happens, happens. Go ahead.
Okay, well, Commissioner Ford mentioned, let's just go right to what's new here. We want to be respectful of your time, but Ashlyn, I think if you would take us down to slide 6. This is all what you've seen before as far as our goals for the airport CRA and the infrastructure needs that we have out there. There is an update on the project list here that I just want to highlight for you, which is that we're very close with Williams International on a major expansion out at the airport. It's been in the news a bit because they got approval from GOEO on their state TIP incentive. But this is just an absolutely massive opportunity for our community. The jobs are great, so it'd be an additional 300 jobs. These are high wage, skilled production jobs primarily. But the CapEx is really pretty jaw-dropping. They're looking at a total of $1 billion in CapEx by the end of our CRA.
Congratulations.
So, and
That's
to
great.
the county as well. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all tax revenue that at the end of the CRA will come through to the county and our school district. And we're just very excited that they're looking at Ogden and Weber County for this project. They do have some infrastructure challenges out there, which I think will sound familiar to you all with some of the work you're doing as well, but power is the big one. So to really pull off that expansion and support future growth, they're looking at potentially doing a substation or maybe even microgrid to service their facility out there on Hinckley Drive. So that's something that we would look to support through a potential TIF agreement. If the interlocal agreement is approved here, that's really critical to their full growth plan. It would also free up the circuit that they're on currently, which is 8 megawatts. So if they move forward and do a substation or microgrid, that frees up that 8 megawatts for other users out in the area.
That's great.
So we're really excited about the project. We want to see it get across the finish line. We want to help meet their infrastructure needs in a way that will also benefit other users in the area.
And we are fighting very hard on this one. Again, at everything. We don't know what route they'll all take, but this actually is just the first of several scheduled expansions for them. There's actually a much larger one that's on the horizon as well. And they're also keying in on that site to relocate some things that they're doing out of state right now to this area. And so we're trying to put a good foot forward and show them why Ogden City and Weber County is the place to do that.
Good.
Absolutely.
So as it relates to this interlocal, we had some extensive discussion about amendments. And I would just want to bring to your attention that Ogden City was very responsive in showing us the infrastructure lift that they needed. So we felt comfortable as an Economic Development Finance Committee to go above the 50% that we normally lay the bar at, and to bring them up to that 75%, because there is a huge infrastructure lift. And like they said, by bringing in some TIF funding to assist with this one particular project expansion, it's going to free up that electricity, which is just at this point, electricity is the gold of the state right now. It's gonna free up that electricity to keep doing recruitment out there, which is just gonna expand the tax digest and the tax base out there. So we felt very comfortable with their proposed amendments. They went back several times to the drawing board to come back with this proposal, which we're pitching today, and that's 75%. What was the total year on that? Cause you had a couple of different trigger tax in 2025. Yeah.
And the amended interlocal also includes that new requirement that the county's portion of the TIF be used for infrastructure. And we know that with everything we have coming out there, that we'll be able to.
Good work.
To use
Yeah,
it for
so
that.
that's still in the contract, right?
Yep, absolutely. That'll be in the that's in the interlocal.
That's pretty key that we stick.
Yep.
And what about reporting? We want to make sure that we don't fall in the trap and not seeing.
That's also in there.
So we got
The
reported
reporting requirement.
annual reports or?
Yeah.
So are you guys okay with that?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, you'll live up to that, I'm assuming?
We will.
Okay. And so what provisions, if we don't get the reports, do we have anything that
I don't know if we have
protects us?
a clawback in there.
I don't think we put one in there, no. Just the requirement to have it.
It would be a breach of contract.
You could, yes, it could, yes, be considered breach.
Well, that
Okay.
needs to be clear.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I want to make sure we don't have issues if down the road that,
Sure.
you know, up and coming commission doesn't have those reports, doesn't know what's going on. I want to have some ability to go back and
Yeah,
bring
we can-
somebody's
we can
bell over
put
there to
that
say,
in
look,
there
you owe us
very
reports
closely.
where the money goes away.
Yeah.
So I would make sure that you make that clear to your staff over there, that those reports become pretty critical to the county.
Sure.
So I'm assuming you guys are okay with that or
Yeah.
with the reports?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've already talked to our
Yeah,
finance team
Okay.
about that. They had no concerns or worries about that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we feel very comfortable with it.
Yeah,
Okay,
and they had their finance team come in and meet with us.
did they?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, to make sure that we were all on the same page as it related to reporting.
good. Okay,
Okay,
all right, what else?
On the airport CRA, we appreciate the dialogue that we've had with the county, with you as commissioners and with staff over the last year or so. And we're really excited to get this to a point where everybody feels good about it. And it is really awesome for us as a community, city and county, to be able to pursue the types of opportunities that we're seeing out at the airport. So we appreciate the work that you all have done with us over the last year to help us get it to that point.
Good, all right.
Yeah.
Do you want to make any changes to the interlocal as it relates to language? How do you feel about that, Lauren or
if
Gage?
we want it to be very specific in there that it's a material breach, I probably would want to add that as a sentence.
I'd add that in.
Please.
So yeah, we can
Um,
update that.
We can run that through the portal today and
Yeah.
still have it on the agenda tomorrow for you guys, if
Yep.
you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. we'll
I
do
just, I
that.
think that needs to be part of the contract, so
We can hustle on that today.
It's an easy fix.
Yeah.
if it's not in writing, my grandpa used to teach me, it doesn't exist,
No.
so we learned that.
Well, I always started when it doesn't exist until the commissioner's ink is dry on the
Well,
page. That's what I say.
That's the second thing, yeah.
Good. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks,
All
thanks,
right,
guys.
we will get this through our portal today. We'll still have it on the agenda tomorrow for a vote
Okay.
at the commission meeting.
And just for me, the more you could expedite that other little chunk. That's gonna start, especially if they're out there asking for other stuff, that's just gonna cause us more. It's just more work for us. We don't need to do that.
Yeah, we've been getting inquiries about it as well and different providers and things like that. And honestly, we're set up to, to provide those so easy and it's some of the others are gonna have to get a little creative on how they're gonna do it. It makes sense. We want it to be part of Ogden. That was always part of the plan. So we are moving forward to try to make that happen.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah, and we're on a mission as Weaver County in general. Gage and I are working really hard to get some statutory changes as it relates to annexation islands to get rid of some of the Swiss cheese. And that is one of our Swiss cheese pieces in the county. So we would hopefully, if you guys don't do it sooner than later, we're gonna come up right behind. Hopefully Gage and I'll get that
Yeah.
legislation changed and we're coming right up behind you. So it's needed.
I know you have a super full agenda, so I don't know if you would like me to or not. I know in the past you've been very interested in the different happenings that are going on out at the airport, and I can touch on some of those.
Yeah, well, I think
Or we can schedule
I'd
another
like
time.
that, Mr. Chair.
I think, it's just the sheriff, he could be held off, okay.
I don't know.
No, go ahead.
It's like,
No, I was actually gonna bring that up because we've had those discussions to see
Yeah.
kind of what the new and interesting things out there are.
Yeah, so everything is still it is still in progress right now. Nothing is 100% done. But right now, we've got several different groups working on several different things. And so right now, our new airport director, we have 2 of the business owners out there on the airport. Representation of 3 different private hangars. They're meeting about 3 times a week right now for about 3 hours a night.
Wow.
wow,
And they're drafting an entire new lease document. Depending on some
Wow.
of the stuff that comes out of those lease documents, then we fully anticipate that we will be going back before our council to make changes to Title 8, which is our airport
Right.
ordinance. So some of the things are going on there. Also then in the background, our consultant that's been on board with us for quite some time and outside aviation specific legal counsel are working on our guidelines. They're working on a bunch of different documents. We've got 5 of them kind of all spelled out the way they need to go in, but we're working on putting those together. That's going to give us direction moving forward for different things like development, leases, rates and fees, FBOs, minimum standards, different things like that. So there is a ton of them in work. None of them are done yet, but they're all in some kind of status of being worked on right now. We also, working with our state partners and our federal partners, we are not pursuing building that large cargo apron on the west side at this time. We've actually reallocated those funds over onto be more like the southeast side.
Southeast.
Yeah, it's
I've
just,
seen that, Matt.
I call it the island. There's kind of there is like an island of property that has taxiways all the way around it.
Yeah,
So we're actually going to be focusing on putting a cargo apron, a public cargo apron for type 3 aircraft or group 3 aircraft, excuse me, on that site over there. We're also starting the layout and the infrastructure for a heliport.
Nice.
So, and then some parking for rotary aircraft and starting on, actually, it'll be the beginning of a vertiport.
Good.
So, and then we're also been talking to another company about advanced air mobility and some other things that we're focusing on there. So none of them are complete yet at this time, but there are so many irons in the fire out there. We're trying to wrangle them all at the same time. It's a big chore.
well, that's great.
great.
Well, it sounds like you're making progress on, one of the main things we hear about is just, the hangar owners out there just want to know what's in the future.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're headed that direction to give them solid information because there's so much, chatter going on and I won't call it miscommunication, I'll call it lack of communication but if you're headed that direction, that's good.
Yeah, and we have those, and they're at the table with us.
Yeah,
right? I
good.
mean, we're writing that together,
That's great.
and so it'll,
Yeah.
hopefully it'll be great in the end, so.
No, I think that makes everybody happy out there.
and then we've resumed our monthly meetings, it's this group and Mara.
Great.
We've resumed our monthly meetings with.
Oh, have you? Oh, good. Okay, great.
Happy to hear that.
Great. Okay, we appreciate you guys coming in.
Thank
That
you for
makes
your
me
time.
happy.
Good.
That's good.
We
That's
aim
good.
to make you happy.
Well, you're good.
Anytime you're
Drive
happy, all of
safety.
us are happy.
Long amen.
It's kind of like that, happy wife, happy life,
Yeah.
happy Jim.
Happy.
All right, thanks. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
See you later.
All right, Sean, are you next? No. Yeah, you are.
In here, I think Cortland's going to lead that discussion.
Okay. 145, look at that.
Boy, I'll tell you what,
Wow.
expeditious and efficient.
Talk about being efficient.
Oh,
Wow. Pat myself on the back. Hey, so that movie I was talking about,
yeah.
watch it.
Which one was it?
Red Sea Diving Club.
Red Sea Diving Club. What's it about? The Red Sea and a diver?
It's about a rescue of some Ethiopian Jews. But the reason, so the guy that's, the movie's made on,
Yeah,
I actually went to his birthday party last week and I skied with him over the weekend. He's an Israeli guy.
was it, which one's it on? Is it on Zoom or?
Netflix.
Okay,
So his name's, so he's the head guy that, he's a Navy SEAL, special sort.
Israeli Navy SEAL type?
Uh-huh, and special forces. So you probably heard about, when the Israelis put together a special group to go over and take out all the Muslims that killed their guys in 72.
Yeah.
Remember, that was before you.
Wow, that's neat.
Muslims killed a bunch of Olympic guys.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember that?
Yeah,
So
I
he,
watched it in school.
so he's the lead guy. He was the main guy that went over, took his forces over there around Germany and killed them all.
Wow,
Quite a guy.
I'd like to see that.
Hey,
Welcome,
wow.
welcome, welcome,
How are you?
welcome.
How we doing, gentlemen?
Good, how are you?
Sheriff?
Hello.
Kelly was gonna give you a call and said he didn't recognize you without your badge on, so.
You talked for 3-4 minutes and then he didn't recognize me?
That was your hair.
Did you have a toupee on that day or?
No, it's a wig.
Oh, it's a wig. Okay. That makes, all right. All right, folks, we ready? Let's go to our 145. Discussion regarding parking ordinance for the Pineview and Causey areas. Cortland Erickson, Sheriff Arbon's here. Chief Guard
He's not.
is not here. Todd and Sean Wilkinson is who's on our agenda. So Cortland, are you gonna take the lead on this? I
We
heard,
got Kylie Slater
we
over
got,
here.
yeah, Kylie,
You got the
and-
ambassador of personality over here.
Damn
Mark.
right.
we got Mark Horton, okay. Todd, well, he's the only one we need to talk to. He's the Causey and Pineview guy.
Yes, he is.
Okay, Portland,
Several months ago, it was brought to my attention that there was some desire, I don't even remember where it originated, to increase the fines around Causey and Pineview during the summer months,
Holiday to holiday,
holiday to holiday.
holiday weekend, so start Saturday and Monday.
I believe so. Well, actually, I think the ordinance, we can draft it however you want. It says Memorial Day to Labor Day in the current draft.
Okay.
yeah,
Anyway,
Just to add, the discussion was how to solve the parking issue. There was a number of solutions that were suggested by various staff and sheriff's office. Increase the parking was one, and management was another. Increasing parking fines, and that evolved into a discussion of comments from our deputies, people saying, I'd rather pay the $40 because that's for 4 people in cars, $10 each, we don't care. So that, there's just adding a little more context to looking for a solution.
sure. And
Sorry.
so, yeah, I appreciate that. And so in the discussion, we came up with a draft. And over the course of the months after that, we held a follow-up meeting. And Sheriff, I don't recall if you were there or who was there in that. It was at your office. I know Chief Guard was there. I think you were there, Todd. And I don't remember who else,
I
but
think the discussion evolved into, I wasn't there, but the report I got was, we handle, the administrative service of the parking violations and so forth. And so, that's why it was our house and how it handled, what are some of the comments that are made? I know Horton was, do you have something to add?
I'm not sure if raising the fees is gonna do it, cause like the sheriff said, these people are driving up from West Valley and Salt Lake. They're gonna come up, and if they can't find a place to park, they're not gonna turn around and go home. They are gonna find a place to park. Whether it's somebody's driveway or on the roadway, they're not gonna turn around and go home. And like he said, they don't care about the fine. If the fine's $80 and there's 4 or 5 people in the car, hey, how about we split the ticket? So
And then I think in that discussion, Commissioner Harvey, you made a suggestion of an idea of, well, the first one is 40 or 80, and then it doubles. And then there was a discussion of a tow ability too, for some of the things. I'm not sure how that worked. That's
It was
what I
100
called
and
in.
2 than 4, wasn't it?
It
Yeah.
was, and then if they didn't pay it within the 14 days, it would be doubled. So it could get up to $800 if they've
Yes.
already had 2 or more previous violations during the 1 year period before that, and if they don't pay it within 14 days, it could get up to $800. But that's on the third and subsequent violation within a 1 year period.
Okay,
So that is the direction that you gave last time we met, and we kind of refined it, and so this is to make sure that's still what you want.
can I throw a knuckleball into this? Will the impact of the new city up there, will that be an impact? Because some of those areas may not be over county unincorporated per se, it might be with the city. Is this gonna be a city deal?
Well, that's what I was gonna say, is that
This
we've got
is-
1 more year left
This all
of
goes
this,
away in a year.
and then it's not our problem.
Right.
It's gonna be all city after,
Causey will still be our problem.
well, Causey's our
It'll be
problem.
our problem.
But we don't have quite the issues that Causey
Oh,
does,
yeah.
do we?
do.
Well, but
It's a
we're,
mess.
But,
Dave.
So
but
we'll-
we're doing a lot of work up there though.
and we'll be in construction
Yeah.
next year
Mhm.
for the access and the new road and all
This
of
is
that.
around-
2026?
Yes,
For,
Yep.
for where? Ozzy?
for Causey, yeah.
Okay.
Well, and around Sean, well, you weren't there. May I?
Go ahead.
So, we were given a update. Sean Harwood's got an update, through the Forest Service that they're gonna do more, quite a renovation and entrance into Port Ramp. Bring that down where Windsurfer Beach is.
Mhm.
There's been a lot of iterations out there. The most recent one, is out now, the one that I think they've got approved. And they've got 25 of the 27 million, for the project already committed. So which says but they were gonna start next year in 2026 as well.
Okay.
My thing is I'd like to take this, to cut to the chase. We gotta start somewhere, and you, Mark, excuse me, Lieutenant Horton, or is it Chief Horton?
It's Mark.
Thanks. Anyway, to start taking a step-by-step approach. If if they can't, if they're gonna come up from West Valley or wherever in Salt Lake, maybe they can pay $100 or $200 or $400 instead of paying $40, something. They start parking in people's driveway, it'll just create another problem. But if we don't start taking this at a bite at a time and start somewhere, it's just gonna get worse, especially with the impending construction next year. I think a signal needs to be sent to the people who decide to just put a blind eye to it, pay the fee, that we're serious about safety on that road, going around there, and that we don't want people on that road. So do you also, I have another question.
Go ahead.
You said parking, does that also include the lots? Because I thought the lots were the property of the Forest Service.
Well, it's not, the lots are always full, it's the spillover.
They're
Right.
parking on
It's the road.
I just wanted to make sure, just to be clear.
Yeah,
So it wasn't just Port, Spring Creek and Pelican.
well, they're parking on the roadway.
Yeah, I
But
get
the
that.
lots, the county helped build the new lot up there.
Well,
But
we
when you-
expand it,
But
right?
when you pull into Middle Inlet, they have an overflow parking right as you turn off the road. They
Sure.
refuse to open it. And you could probably park 80 to 100 cars in there. And why not charge them $5 to park? in it?
But that's Forest Service.
Forest
Yeah.
Service, we can't, I know, we've
And see,
done,
their approach off of, in the port ramp that they're looking at, that's gonna be similar to what they did up at Bear Lake. It's just to get traffic off the highway for people that are turning. I'm not sure that's gonna be any more parking.
well, they are adding some more parking there. I'm glad you asked that. They are adding additional parking there in both the existing windsurfer and for their, and then they're gonna make that new road in, and the existing road in is gonna be out only.
Okay.
So that, but that still doesn't solve the problem of getting across the road, but hopefully it'll help congestion on there. Well, I mean, no matter what the city decides to do, my feeling would be, at minimum, what I saw in that recent email a week or so ago, 1, 2, 4 to start with, and I would go to make it easier for enforcement instead of, well, what day's the weekend, the holiday weekend, is it really Monday? Just say, May, I just say May 15th to September, October 15th, whatever you want to do on there. Make it a 15 to 15 type of a thing, because then you could give a warning before the weekend, I don't know.
So,
Yeah.
Todd,
Can
Sorry,
I add
I'm
two
not in
things?
charge, sorry.
Mark, I guess we're
Yeah.
calling you right now. Just
Thank you, Tom.
FYI, and I think Sean knows this, phase 3 of this project will be all of those, especially Eastern Lake parking areas will be paid parking. They're gonna all get revamped and paid. Part of the reason they don't open it is they don't even have enforcement of their
No.
own. And that one, you can bury people in there. That one's not really up to snuff, but that's a phase. And just a correction, I heard the other day, although the project at Port officially isn't starting till spring, the water line move from Ogden City potentially is starting this spring, which would shut windsurfer down. It goes right through windsurfer, so that windsurfer could be affected prior to the whole project kicking off. Is that what you
I have
understand?
heard that, yeah.
Yeah, and that parking lot, windsurfers alligatored up, I mean, it's horrible right now, we can't even.
We've been dumpster chasing in there and they don't want us to plow or anything, which we don't wanna do. But, so.
well, the pipe's there now.
Well, the pipe's gonna be replaced.
They're replacing it all, so they gotta cut
That's the
across.
3-footer.
into the- Yeah,
Yeah, it's a 3 foot, yeah.
and their hope, as of talking to Sean Harwood the
Yeah.
other day, is if all goes according to plan, they'll do that this spring. Which is
Ogden
good.
will do that
Yeah.
this spring for that 3-footer,
Yeah,
because they've already got that 3-foot pipe project funded.
yeah, I just had the pipes on site, so they'll be setting it pretty soon.
Well, and the big thing is, the bigger issue is getting it under the water.
Yeah.
That's
So that's
gonna be
big.
fun.
Well, they were losing 1 million gallons a day out of the 2-footer.
Yeah.
Where's it going?
It was the one that went down before they replaced it,
Yeah,
10
down the
years.
river.
Well, I'm not prepared to say go on this yet. I think we need to have the Forest Service in the room. Get their suggestions, because I agree, you know,
I think long-term at Causey, if you could implement a $10 a day access fee, half your parking would go away.
Well, they
What-
will have a toll booth
Yeah.
at Causey. There should be a turn lane to get into Weaver Memorial to get them off the road. The toll gate will be past our entrance and they're gonna limit the number of cars to Causey. At least that's Plan 37.
Yeah.
who's doing that?
That's all forestry. There's 14 point something million, I believe, or 17 already set aside.
When they doing that?
Starting very soon, cause I got a phone call about, could they use our property? I don't know if you're aware.
Yeah.
Right past where you go in, that upper bluff is ours, it's not part of the park, and we had said, if you need staging that, and I believe it's Homeland Security or one of the two that is connected to that they could stage up there, so I would bet preliminary stuff will start early this year.
Yeah.
They'll likely work in conjunction with the other
Mhm.
project going on up there.
Okay, well,
So as far as the fees go, Cortland, what are the fees now that are proposed?
The proposed fees are on a first violation, and again, this goes back to the 1 year period before the date of the citation. It is $100 if you pay it within 14 days, $200 if you don't pay it within 14 days. If it is your second violation, it's $200 or $400. And then on your third or subsequent, it's $400, or if you don't pay within 14 days, it's $800. That's what's in the draft, and that's based on direction from this meeting last year. The Forest Service did have a rep at the meeting we had at your office. I don't recall who it was, but a female. And
Like Tawny.
that sounds right. So anyway, they were in a meeting with us at that time. I want to make it clear, I have no preference whatsoever. I'm not driving any proposal.
No.
I put down what was
no,
suggested
I understand
at
that.
the last
So-
one, so I'm totally fine with whatever, but yeah, that's what we're.
I was asked to come last minute on this. One of my opinions is that the bell schedule on a failure to obey a sign is more than the $100. So if it's cited into the justice court, right? It's like 135, 145, something like that. So in my head, it makes more sense, like first offense, 150, second offense, 300, split those out that way and make it a little more steep. I mean, I'm good with whatever, but just for purpose of discussion, is we'd look into this. I don't know how many, I mean, I've written quite a few parking tickets myself up there, and I've never seen a repeat offender. Now granted, I'm not up there every weekend, right? But I think we solved some of the problem with getting the first violator done, but your buddies are running 20 minutes late coming up out of, and that's the difference of full parking lots or empty is a 20-minute window, right? So if you're not at there by 10 o'clock, cemetery point's full. As soon as the point fills, that's when they move out to everywhere else. So by 11 o'clock on a Saturday, we got people parking on the road. And that's where our problems come in, right? And then when you get one car that parks, you get 20 of them that line up.
So one initiates it now.
Yeah.
No, it only takes is one, and they're doing it, so I'm gonna do it. No, that's
Listen, I just.
that's mentality.
My feeling is, Mr. Chair, is we've got to do something. I remember 6 or 7 years ago, I wish I could remember I wasn't a lieutenant that was up there at the time, had the flat top hair, really great guy. But he was out there trying to direct traffic where we're putting in that roundabout there and off of Cemetery and going up to Monte Cristo.
100 South.
100 South. You've got to do something to help those guys out up there, because I think people are just, we heard the opinion. Sometimes, you said though, not a lot of repeat offenders. They may be coming up in different cars or whatever, but
Yeah.
I want the word to spread amongst those people that are going up there. We mean business up there, and we don't want you parking on the road. You can carpool better. You can park at the Chevron or wherever and carpool over, but you're not gonna be parking on the road and creating that problem. We gotta do something,
Okay,
and I think we take it in a step. We don't take this elephant all in one bite, but we take a bite this year, and then whatever the folks up there decide to do with whatever enforcement mechanism they use next year, that can be on them.
The last 2 years we've got our traffic unit, 2 of them are up there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, just dealing with parking. That's 2 officers, 3 days a week, just doing parking.
With your
That doesn't
recent,
include Huntsville. 'Cause they
Okay.
have their own person.
with your recent, and I listened very closely with your recent staffing on enforcement, will you have the people to be able to do that this year? I mean, I don't know.
We kind of make that a priority because we know it's such a problem.
Okay, well,
So we might
however,
be pulling from somewhere else.
we're trying to give you another tool to help. I like what now Lieutenant Slater said. With the idea of going with the whatever the
Bell
thing,
schedule.
Matt Bell's
The Bell schedule, which is, the courts have a
Bell
a
schedule.
fee schedule.
For those listening online or future, Matt Bell dreamed that up. Matt Bell's schedule. If you got a problem, call him. I'll give you his number. Anyway, no, but I like that idea.
But I mean, if we make that first offense steep enough, I don't know that $100 is gonna hit it. But
so you're proposing we take it to 150?
yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but if you park in front of a sign and I can physically hand you a ticket, I'm citing you under failure to obey a regulatory sign, right? The state has the state has that Bell schedule.
The state has the Bell schedule.
It has
A lot of
that,
things they
it
do
has
down
the
there,
fee
right.
schedule already set for that, and it doesn't matter where you're at in the state. And if the people are at their car, we can cite under that currently, but more often than not, you pull up and they'll either run down to the beach or some people will run up.
Cause you've gotta be able to physically hand them that
You
ticket.
can't catch him with
Yeah.
only 2 guys.
So what is it if you can't physically hand them the
Yeah, it's a
ticket?
We have
parking
this
ticket.
process.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
And
I'd
that's why
say,
that's why this process was invented, because it was near impossible. You
Yeah.
get John Smith,
no,
or you get a car registered to a family trust. And
right,
if it's the Gage Forward Family Trust,
We don't know. who
we
the-
can't write
know
those
the
tickets. I can't write the ticket.
okay. So Sheriff, what's your opinion on this?
So I agree with what Lieutenant Slater is saying, and I appreciate all the work that Cortland's doing in the comments. Just an out of the box thinking is, ski resorts often offer shuttle service to the ski resorts, right? UTA or something. Is that something that we could have just from Memorial Day to Labor Day, right? Somewhere else. The parking is a problem, and I understand the fines and the problems, but what hasn't been shared with is the accidents that we have. The boat ramp just went by up from the Causey, the reservoir spillover. Port ramp? Sorry, yes, port ramp. The one day last year, the line was backed up so far that coming around those corners, people were jumping out, crossing the WLs, passing all these cars around curves.
Yeah.
We're having crashes.
So they could get home.
Yeah, there's a problem, right?
Well, I think that's on UDOT schedule, isn't it? Isn't that part of the Forest Service? That's part of
Well,
their.
that's the whole
It goes
reason.
back to the Bear Lake.
You're gonna turn it, in the future, you're gonna turn in a windsurfer.
Yeah.
and
Right.
Go over to
Right.
Fort.
It's a long old approach. That
Yeah.
goes away.
Yeah.
But I mean, short term, shuttles from downtown Ogden up to the Pineview, making a loop, always picking up, taking people during certain hours. Just saying something to consider.
Yeah, that's something, so just so you know, for the ski, that's something that's done through Visit Ogden, not through with some extra, and then that's a pretty expensive deal.
Okay.
And so to have that run through the summer, well, you have an idea there, because if we might, I can mention that to Visit Ogden, that we might could say, okay, you gotta come to Ogden to catch that bus. But I think you have to take a step like this first.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying,
Then,
Further
and then
down.
No,
say,
you don't run the shuttle from Ogden, you run it from over where Powder Mountain runs there, so what we do
we teach
is,
people.
we take that fine money and you start running shuttles from the Powder
Oh,
Mountain shuttle there in Eden to those two, they've got 2 or 3 shuttles. So they go from there to Powder Mountain every 20 minutes on the minute, they don't miss it very far. From like 7 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And you don't need this 7 days a week, you need it.
No.
So even on Friday, I disagree with you. Fridays typically, unless it's a holiday, are not a problem there. Saturdays and Sundays are your main days.
Friday afternoons, people leave work early.
Well, it depends on the reservoir level too. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of variables.
Anyway.
Just to say every Friday is not a problem.
No, and the other thing is that at some point those beaches are gonna become at capacity, so even though we can park
Right.
another 300 cars off site. We don't have the resources to cover the fights and
No,
things, right, so.
which I'm assuming either you or Morgan County are gonna have to deal with that in the future. I'm not sure who.
But nobody's drinking up there, right? 'Cause that's illegal too.
Yeah, that's illegal too.
I say we get close to that bell schedule. Is there a 3 on the bell schedule, or is it just 2, 150 and 3?
I don't know that any of those, I think it's just the way the bell schedule is set, I think it's every time, it's just that same fine,
It's
so.
the same one.
Yeah, so this would be an we would set them to enhance, and there are statutes in the state currently that. Like you're on your cell phone one time, a first time violation on your cell phone while driving is X amount of dollars. If you get a second offense within an X amount of time, that increases, right? So what Cortland has drafted up, I think is good. I just think, what if we got that number a little higher and make that a little steeper as the word gets out, like. It's gonna cost you $150 or $130, whatever we decide, right? $150 to park, if we illegally park. Once that word gets out, I think it's gonna.
What do you think?
What are we charging now?
Currently, it's $40.
I think it's
Yeah.
40.
I thought it was 80.
I don't, it's 40, it's 40.
It's 40?
Been like that for years.
I like this idea. I think instead of the 100, maybe we go to, and we don't have the third one. What if we go to 150, then 300 and not have a third one? You like that?
Those two?
Like that.
I think current is 50. That's what the ordinance
It's
says
50.
right now.
Okay,
So,
I like the 150, 300.
okay.
And then it can reset after a year, within that year's period, any subsequent offense. So if you get a guy that comes up there 5 times and gets caught 5 times, it's $300 every time, right?
Okay, so I'm okay with that. But with some conditions, I wanna meet with the Forest Service, cause the Forest, in the past, there's been some confusion between the Sheriff's Department and the Forest Service. they call me and say, hey, we got these deputies up there and they're writing tickets in the wrong spot. And I hear the Forest Service has placed the signs in the wrong spot. So I want there to be coordination between the Forest Service and the sheriff's office in terms of where those signs are.
Some of that is with UDOT, our county roads and the Forest Service and us.
Yeah, so,
Because 158, that's all UDOT, but over by Middle Inlet, that's all us.
Right.
well, but yeah, I just want us all to be on the same page because, you know, if
And then.
you write a ticket and then the Forest Service truck drives by and they pull them off and they're gonna tell them a different story. I want everybody to be on the same page. Or I don't wanna do it.
150 goes to 3, or 300 if it's not paid within 14 goes to 6.
Okay, and it's at 300 for second and subsequent
Yeah.
offenses,
Yeah.
not a third level.
No, I just think you do two tier.
Okay,
But I only want that put through after a meeting is.
With Sean Harwood.
With Sean Harwood, and let's get an update on all the, you know, we've talked about those parking
I gotta show
spots
you.
for the last 6
We'll
years.
we'll get Sean Harwood in here and show you that most recent, design on Port Rand.
Well, I've seen all the designs I need to see. I wanna see some money.
Well, it's great, it's great American Outdoors Act funding and it goes
But every-
year by year.
But every time I talk to Sean about it, is some other state that's got that money.
I
Never
think he
Utah.
got it this time. He sat there on, he said, I can't remember what day it was last week, but he said he's got 25 million.
Okay, well, I'd like to confirm that.
Have you seen it though?
I'd like.
No.
And we
No.
won't.
Well, so I think, Sean, let's get him in the room.
Okay.
But I'm okay with that, subject to making sure everybody's on the same page, and we ought to have the sheriff's department there. And if we have to have UDOT, then great, let's do it.
UDOT's been awesome to work with.
He did
Yeah.
say, this is just interesting, between the Wasatch Cache and one other mountain range, between the Wasatch Cache and
Probably the winner.
maybe Uinta Mountain Range,
Ashley.
it was 3, could be,
Appalachians.
no. Between those 3, they get more visitors than they do in the Mighty 5 a year.
Yeah,
Those
they do.
3 forests
They
get
do.
more visitors than do the Mighty 5 national parks in a year.
You gotta-
National parks?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Really?
that's what, now this is what
That's a lot of people.
Forest Service is, I mean, we gotta look that up again, but I still think they're part of the federal government.
Well,
But that's what he says, that the numbers, and that's how we got to 25 million.
Pineview brings in millions each year. Between that and the campgrounds up South Fork, it's millions.
yeah,
The
But-
Wasatch.
but how much of that stays
Cache, and-
on our forest?
None of it. It all goes into the US general fund.
But they
Right.
but they were able to get
Right.
$25 million for these improvements around Pineview. That's why. That's how we explained he got the money.
I made a joke to Sean one time. I said 25 million in lawnmowers and weed trimmers is not improvements.
No.
So
And they
Well, I would like to see, because when I talked to Sean a year ago, and it's been a year, he said that money went somewhere else, so.
Well, it's a lot of, it's, yeah, no,
Okay,
And it's the way
show me the money.
The way
Yeah.
the fees are scheduled and the way it's structured up here, that's really what we ought to be pushing for is down in, Timpanogos and that area. The way the rec fees stay local.
well, it'd be
Yeah,
great.
no,
We need to lobby that.
we drive the money, but it goes 3 other spots.
We talk about that federally all the time. That just,
Anyway,
that act of Congress hasn't happened, but maybe it will now.
can you imagine how nice Yellowstone would be if they could keep the money they collected at the
Oh.
gates?
yeah,
But those parks are the same as Pineview. They're worn down, they're run out. Parking's a joke, same problem.
Same problem.
same thing.
You okay with that? Any other,
So-
sorry,
Are you?
I'm not the chair.
Who all do you wanted, you want Sean Harwood here? Who from UDOT do you guys
Do you
usually
think,
deal with?
do you think we need UDOT, or, I mean,
UDOT, they're good to work with us on these
I
problems.
mean, it's good if you want them in the room. They cover all of 158. So.
I think we should have that just for clarification.
Okay,
Is it
I'll ask.
Rob White?
He's
Yeah,
the,
well, I don't
he's the
think-
Region 1 director.
Yeah, you don't need him. Maybe there's a guy by the name of, is it Slater?
I'll talk to Gary.
But I haven't seen Rob in a while.
Hey, good guy.
Talk to the traffic guy.
Yeah, I'll talk to Gary. We'll find out who that
I
would
think
be.
it's Slater. His name is Slater.
Oh, Brett Slater. He is not the guy anymore.
No,
Okay,
So we'll figure out who it is.
Sean will
Okay.
figure it out.
okay,
Then
Uh,
Hadley.
I'm happy with
Okay,
that.
so Forest Service, UDOT,
Joe Hadley.
We'll get our roads guys.
Anybody else?
You guys have any?
We probably had to have.
Keep them on there. I'd like these guys here,
Still
just
there?
so they know what's happened. You want Richard there? Sorensen?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
What about the next leader of,
We don't know who that is.
Well, he's,
whoever's in charge up there, that new city?
well, you're gonna have 7 people that all say they're in charge, so.
And just to keep that, the way that's a great idea, but right now statutorily, we've gone through this with the state. It's business as usual until the end of the year, the first part of the.
Yeah, I
next
don't
year.
think we'll invite the,
Then
'Cause
that's fine, yeah.
What about Huntsville?
we invite one,
Yeah.
we're gonna have 7
Yeah,
show up and 3 others that claim they're gonna be the new mayor, so. When they do their process, happy to invite.
Happy to have them included.
Okay.
This will hopefully give them a step. They can decide to remove the step or to add another one to it or keep it. You know, this will help us.
So where does that money go right now? To sheriffs or where the fines go?
We get a little bit. I don't think it's that much though.
I don't know where.
You know, Cortland?
Where the money goes?
Yeah.
Where the money, I don't.
I don't know.
We will find out.
Be nice to see where that money goes.
The fine
And-
money? I mean, yeah,
I think some goes to the county. some
Well,
goes to
and the reason I'm
court.
asking that is if we could use some of that money, just like we do with the rec fees up there, to do our garbage, that we could fund that for the Harvey shuttle. Let's use that money in a proactive way.
So that won't be the same restriction as the other funds have. So
No,
the ramp funds are restricted to recreational improvements around the lake on forestry
Right.
property.
no, this is just a
This
deal.
is separate.
This is the deal just with the fine money and what we could
I
do.
mean, currently they pay, the sheriff's office? Do they?
The sheriff's office gets a separate from middle. The Huntsville gets 1 and then we get 2 that is held in an account to be used. And
But that's
approved by-
not fine money.
No,
That's-
I'm
So,
saying
yeah, if
current.
somebody.
That's
gets a
vendor money
parking-
for the
If you write a
forest.
parking ticket to someone, who do they write the check to?
There's an online portal, they can go pay and.
I'd like to know where, can you find out where that money goes?
Yeah,
We will. Yeah, we will.
Follow the money.
Julie should know where that
Yeah.
goes. So
Julie's great.
You lead that.
So just find out, because if we could fund, look, we're gonna take some heat for going to 150. But say, look, we're doing this,
Residents up there will support it.
well, they'll support it, but if we could have an alternative solution, look. You don't park on the road, drive down to Eden Central, jump in the parking terrace,
Yep.
parking lot, and every 20 minutes, certain hours, we'll take you where you wanna go.
Well, that's a great idea, but for now, carpool. That's all there's to a carpool. These onesie twosies in the car. We don't like that fee. Well, then carpool or come earlier. That's not really where we are right now. All we are is just say, we don't want there to be a problem on the road. It's a dangerous situation. We
Yeah.
can't do it. So that's all there's to it. It's not
Well, if
hard.
you wanna go up there on a Saturday.
I don't know.
Take your little snow basin sign, carpool only, 3 or
Oh,
more,
you go.
yeah, then you go, that's how you get by
There
it,
you go.
or $12.
We could put all the people in the snow basin lot and put a zip line from there down to the water.
That might be
You
fun.
probably
It's
got
gonna
a
be
couple.
hard to carry a cooler on the zip line though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can afford a zip line like that. We'll figure out a way to get.
All right, anything else?
Just one thing before we leave here. Just so we don't leave this meeting with a misunderstanding, I think the parking on the east side is phase 3. And I think that won't start until after port, so I'm pretty sure that's
That's
not
true.
funded yet. They're doing it, they have to be shovel ready and
That's the
go,
other
so.
thing
They did cemetery parts already, they're doing port ramp, and then I think it will go back east, so. Asking
Yes.
Sean, he's not gonna have anything to do on that, cause that,
But at least we ought to get that, I ought to get that slide presentation sent
Yeah,
to him. The new one's is pretty, it's been well thought out.
Yeah.
Including dip tanks and stuff like that for quagga mussels, so it's good. Okay,
Okay, good, all right, anything else?
Can I have a closed session with you two on, jail stuff
We can,
for
let's
like
see,
3 minutes?
Yeah, I gotta go to a doctor appointment here pretty
What
quick.
time? We're a little
But I'll
past,
be okay. But let's give us a minute.
development agreement template.
Give us a minute. We may be outside.
I'll grab those guys. Charlie and Rick should be out there.
Okay,
You want me to wait here?
yeah,
Yeah, you can even wait in here, it doesn't matter.
Oh, I don't know, okay, I'll wait here. Oh, well, your snack. bowls.
Fascinating stuff.
What's your schedule? You got,
I've got an appointment I got Ogden City coming over they wanna join, they want us to help them with drones.
oh, great. When do you have to leave?
I gotta leave here not later than 20 of,
I gotta be
Three.
at my office at 3 o'clock.
so we both gotta leave about 20 of, quarter of, somewhere in
Yep.
there.
So how long will you be?
3 minutes, I just wanna tell you what's going on.
All right, let's go into a closed session then.
Motion to go, wait, well, you wanna do that now or
Yeah, let's do it, right?
Charlie?
Charlie, hold on 1 second. We're gonna.
One
let's do-
second, will you shut that door? That door first, the other door second.
We'll do 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Okay,
Motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel,
Yes, and property.
and proper.
personnel and property.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're now in
Aye.
closed session. Sheriff,
Hold on.
hold on. Nobody's on there, but let's make sure. Forgot to take me out of closed session.
No, I did. We did it when you came in.
Well, I didn't
Oh,
take
that
it.
one. Okay.
Okay, anyway, I think
Okay, there you
this
go.
makes good sense.
Okay, good. One of the things that it does for us is it says we are going to snapshot the codes and the agreement as it is when the county commissioners sign it. And that snapshot is what runs with that development. Any new ordinance that the county adopts isn't automatically applied to the project unless you guys deem it applicable. So
Okay.
it gives you full control. If we had a reason to approve an agreement at this time, and 10 years down the road, the legislature does something different, the Fed does something different, and it completely unravels a good reason why we came up with the agreement or the reason, we're gonna want to make sure we're able to hold whoever that developer is accountable for what we actually tried to do in the first place. So, and the only downside that I can see from doing this, other than it's really county favored, and so it can be perceived as being very strict if, we're sticking to the letter of it, is a developer may not want to use it. And in those cases, we can always come and chat with you guys after the planning commission and see if you guys want to do something unique for that particular development, if they're doing something that you guys appreciate. But if not, I mean, I would much rather say, developer, if you're looking for a rezone, this is the agreement. Make peace with it, or find a different community.
Well, I think the easy answer to that is if they don't like a real estate contract, if they don't like a certain provision in that real estate contract, then they can come back to us.
Yep.
Or come back and say, I don't like this, take it out or not.
Yep.
You have the ability to say, we'll either take it out or not, but you come back to us and redraft it, and then you give us a counter proposal.
You got it.
Let's stop wasting your time,
I love it.
put it back on the developer, because now they're coming saying, we don't like it. You're spending time redrafting that, so I want to put more burden on the developer
I'm okay with that.
to
Great.
say, look, no, this is what we say. If you don't like it, you get with your attorneys and you come back to us with paragraph 8 amended.
Yeah.
And then we can consider that or not.
Perfect. I love it.
But I don't think we've been doing too much of their work, Commissioner Harvey.
Well,
The way I look at
it's not my portfolio. I know how efficient our guys are.
it. Well, we're trying to catch up with you.
I gave you the whole thing. Feel free to read through at your.
Charlie, have you noticed how there's like a little blank right there?
Yeah.
There's all these, there's one little blank. I just wanted to point that out.
You need me to put some numbers in there? I can-
Ah, there are some. I've got them already printed inside.
So I don't think you got a problem.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, no,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes or no?
Let me know as you read through it,
No,
if you
no,
do
no,
have any
no.
issues, but
Yes.
we can make changes.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go through this, but I'm saying the concept is good. Not that after I read this, we may want to say, hey, maybe we
Make whatever tweaks you want, yeah.
change this, word here or there.
Yep.
Cause I don't want to be too,
From a shall to a may or a may to
yeah,
a shall.
I don't want to be too onerous, but I want it to be clear that this is what, right now, this is what the county is expecting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you're not willing to live up to that, then you tell us what you can live with, but it's gonna be on your nickel, not on ours.
Well, they're used to this. They've done this
Yeah.
before.
No,
Do you like the
Okay.
paper version, or would you rather have the electronic version?
I'm okay with paper.
Me too.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, commissioners.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Is that add or adjourn? I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. You get to your meeting.